on Twitter today. Politico released an article that basically was trying to say that the establishment loves Warren. They put it out in the tweet. A lot of people tagged me in it. I mean, you already know how I feel about Warren on this channel. It should come as no surprise that I was pretty unimpressed. It was just, okay, you're telling me something that I already knew. I don't know if they were using that article to boost Warren, because sometimes the establishment uses the word the establishment interchangeably. Like sometimes they think it's a good thing to be establishment. And I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but that's what it came off as, like they were trying to boost Warren. Well, Bernie got tired of people keeping his name in their mouths and not putting the proper respect on his name. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. You mean R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Nah, I mean R-E-S-P-E-K. They need to put some respect on Bernie's name, and he demands it. He is not playing any games. He is reminding everybody that he is the OG of progressive politics, and you can't have a copy of Bernie, which is basically what they're trying to make Elizabeth Warren into, a fake carbon copy, an empty shell where it appears like it's Bernie Sanders on the outside, but when you delve deep into the politics, hey, it ain't really Bernie. So, this is what Bernie had to say about that article before we get into the article itself. The cat's out the bag, Bernie said. The corporate wing of the Democratic Party is publicly anybody but Bernie. They know our progressive agenda of Medicare for all, breaking up big banks, taking on drug companies, and raising wages is the real threat to the billionaire class. Now, mind you, in this tweet, this tweet specifically mentions Elizabeth Warren, right? This tweet specifically mentions Elizabeth Warren, and the title of the article says, centrists are coming around to Elizabeth Warren as an alternative to Bernie Sanders. And that's not good for anybody who thinks Elizabeth Warren is progressive. That's it. I mean, I don't know how many times we had this debate. She transferred PAC money that included corporate money. She has a billionaire donor class that has no problem doing it there. Her stance on Israel is absolutely abysmal. Her stance on Venezuela is absolutely abysmal. Hell, her history of endorsing the military-industrial complex wherever it needs endorsing has always been absolutely abysmal. The other day, she made some bold proposals on Twitter. She said this, I'm tired of it. Well, not the other day. I think it was in 2018. She said this, I'm tired of this. The truck companies have gotten too far, and we need to make a radical change. So I'm proposing that we cap drug prices at $500 to make sure that every American can afford their medication. What? Hold up. What? 500 what? You must be talking about 500 pesos. Because the average American can't afford $500. I'm not exactly poor anymore, but I couldn't afford $500 a month on medication. If it was a choice between $500 a month on insulin and dying, Niko's gonna have to die, because I'm not gonna pay $500 a month for medication that I need to survive. Like, what's the shit? I guess God don't want me to be here. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go. That's like, you're not proposing anything radical. I just said this the other day in the video where I covered Elizabeth Warren transferring PAC money and pretending like she didn't do it. Right? The issue wasn't necessarily that she transferred the PAC money. The issue was that there was corporate money included in that PAC, that she fundraised those PACs with other candidates who, of course, were taking corporate money and using their corporate interests to throw money into that PAC. And then she transferred it without saying anything about it. Like pretending as if she was just, my money's completely and totally funded by you guys. That's not true. It wasn't true. So the other day I discussed her lobbying, like her corruption, her DC corruption proposal. I didn't say it was bad, because it's not bad. If anything, if we're talking about our current state in DC, her lobbying proposal was like, should be par for the course. It should be basic administration. She's like, we're going to change lobbying. No, it says we're going to get rid of lobbying as we know it. That's what she said. Listen, people. What the hell does get rid of lobbying as you know it? What would you think that means? What would you think that means? Right? You think it means we're going to get rid of corporate lobbying. If Bernie wrote that legislation, it would literally have 5 words on it. Get rid of corporate lobbying, and maybe 10 more words like, we should also make it completely and totally illegal. Like, if you get caught, we're going to imprison you, or we're going to give you a harsh fine. That's what it would look like if Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard wrote that legislation. That's not what it looked like when Elizabeth Warren. She said we're going to get rid of lobbying as we know it. So what does that mean? We're going to make them report all the money they pay these politicians. We're going to make them report it. We're going to make sure they sign their names correctly, that all the paperwork's filled out correctly. And that's how we'll get rid of lobbying as we know it. Listen, I don't know how much more I can take of the Elizabeth Warren's progressive, probably, maybe. She's progressive, and it's crazy because if you notice this, and that's what I think is, if Bernie tweeted this out, or I don't know if he actually tweeted it, if he okayed the tweet, because he does have to okay the tweets. If Bernie okayed this tweet, that means Bernie has gotten as tired of hearing how progressive Elizabeth Warren is as we're tired of hearing it. That's exactly what that means. He's like, fuck this. Y'all got me fucked up. I don't know what the hell y'all think this is, but there ain't another version of me. Right? Some people will argue, yeah, Tulsi's also progressive, but that's not what the discussion we're having right now. Some people would argue, obviously, Mike Gravel's progressive. That's not the thing about Mike Gravel is his own person, right? The thing about Tulsi is her own person with her own platform. The thing about Bernie is his own person with his own platform. The thing about Elizabeth Warren is she is not her own person. We have no idea what the hell her platform is, but we know one thing: the establishment is trying to make her out as if somehow she is Bernie Sanders or the heir apparent to Bernie Sanders, like she's a spring chicken or something. Like, well, she isn't 77 years old. Elizabeth Warren's 69. She'll be 70 before the election's over. Are you kidding me? Elizabeth Warren said, I'm telling you something, people. I'm not an ageist, but once you get 70 years old, my grandma taught me, so once you get 70 years old, every age up until 80 is the same age. Okay? We're probably here pretending like Elizabeth Warren's a spring chicken. Let's check out this article real quick. From Politico. I'm going to pull up my phone. Establishment warming up. The centrists are okay with Warren as a replacement. That's who reads that headline is like, wow, okay, that's a good idea. I like that. Democrats. What's going on? What's happening? We buffering again? Hopefully not. I'm just gonna go through it, but hopefully we're not buffering anymore. But it says there was a time not so long ago when leading Democrats warned that Elizabeth Warren's fantasy-based blue state populism, which has never ever been that, by the way, risked leading the party to ruin. But in a revealing tale of how far her campaign has come in its early February launch, some unlikely voices in the center of the party are growing more comfortable with the idea of Warren as the nominee. Is that what they call that? They said it's about the success of her campaign since its launch. You know what it says to me? It says to me that this is simply a revelation that her politics are perfectly tailored to pretend as if she's progressive, but not actually be progressive. They see the real Warren. They're acknowledging the real Warren. Neera Tanden can't get enough of Warren. You know who also can't get enough of Neera Tanden? TYT. They love her. They have her on the show. Like, they've had her on the show multiple times. I don't know why I threw that out there, but I felt like I just had to throw that jab because we told you. 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 We specifically said Warren's full of shit. You're full of shit if you're pushing her. You're being belligerently ignorant if you are pushing Elizabeth Warren as a progressive. Because a progressive, she is not at best. At best, she is a liberal. You don't even have to go as far as calling her a neoliberal. Fine. At best, she is a liberal. And guess what? At best, a liberal will get their ass whooped by Donald Trump in that general election. He's been whooping their ass up and down the country for the last 4 years or for the last 3 years. What y'all think? I'm okay. You know what? Go to my Twitter. I tweeted this video out yesterday, and I wish I would have put it up in the links. But go look at that rally that Trump just had. It's on Reddit. I posted it on Twitter. I posted a link to it on Twitter. Go look at that rally Donald Trump just had and see if he is unpopular as neoliberals would like to convince you he is, because he is not. He's lost popularity with some of his base. However, in a weird twist of fucking fate, in a weird plot twist, he's gained popularity with other people that he was never popular with to begin with. I don't know why that is. I don't really get it. But QAnon was an effective psyop. I'm going to put it like that. They still see Trump as a populist. A populist can beat Trump. No one else. It has to be somebody completely and totally antithetical to Trump, who has a background that cannot be extorted, basically. Because that's what's happening to Trump when it comes to these regime change wars. Why do you think he's trying to derail the conversation about Iran because he's getting bent over the table by Pompeo and Bolton? We're going to introduce sweeping immigration reform. Man, get the fuck. You're trying to, that's what Bernie said, that's what demagogues do. He has no control over his administration. He doesn't. And he's trying to demonize immigrants because he thinks it helps distract from the fact that he's getting bent over the table by Bolton and Pompeo on foreign policy. That's a fact. But nonetheless, that's not how his supporters see it. That's not how his supporters see it. So, what is the only thing that can beat a Donald Trump? Somebody who's actually populist, has the resume to prove it, and is antithetical to everything that Donald Trump stands for. So, the article goes on to say, it says that it's a sign of how ideological lanes of 2020 primary have blurred and overlapped, and of the steady progress Warren is making as a candidate. But it also is a statement on Bernie Sanders, Warren's top rival for progressive votes. Sanders continues to face significant resistance from within the party, and nowhere more so than among the moderates and establishment players who blanch at his talk of democratic socialism. What do you mean? No, that doesn't make it. Hold on. There's nobody in the party who's progressive who doesn't like Bernie. It is literally only the moderates and the centrists. And people who may not know that they're moderate or centrist. Or, as y'all know I like to call them, the neoliberalites. The neoliberalites, yeah. The article goes on to say that Warren, on the other hand, is gaining traction among those who once rejected her muscular vision of liberalism. That's better. That's what I'm talking. That's better. She's a liberal. Call her that. That's all we ask. Don't call her progressive. She's a liberal. She's drawn notice for her wide-ranging I have a plan for that policy playbook, which she doesn't really, which has just enough growth and opportunity, center left. Okay, I'm glad Politico. I don't know. Once again, I don't know if they're confused because the mainstream uses center and centrist and moderate and establishment interchangeably. They think it's a good thing, but it looks like they're trying to make it a good thing again. But I'm glad that they labeled it labeled her policies exactly what they are. Capping medicine at $500 a month is center kind of left. It ain't really all that left, but it's center. The moral of the story. That's the correct adjective to use to describe that. And it says, it earns her some serious looks from her former detractors. The Massachusetts senator may be out of sync with party centrists, but she's drawn at least one sharp line with Sanders that is resonating with prominent moderate voices as she surges into the top tier on the national and early state polling. One is a Democrat capitalist narrative, said Matt Bennett, a co-founder of Third Way, a centrist think tank that convened a conference of party insiders in South Carolina this week, designed to warn about the risks of a nominee whose views are out of the political mainstream. The other is a socialist narrative. Oh my God. They don't even realize how stupid they sound. It's hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Let me get some of these super chats real quick. Give me a second. I'm about to get to some of these super chats, guys. I haven't been ignoring you. Debate Kyle Kalinske on Warren. He has a blind spot. I don't mind debating Kyle on Elizabeth Warren. But Kyle seems to be pretty like when it comes to facing. So I wanted to offer a reasonable defense of Kyle in that regard. Kyle, when presented with the facts, oftentimes makes the right decisions, right? And when we're bombarded with information, so we all operate from a certain baseline of thought and belief. And to be completely and totally honest with you, a lot of people are still operating from the belief system established in 2016 that even though Elizabeth Warren makes some missteps, that she is still at least a moderate progressive. That's where a lot of people are still operating from. And so from that, he's researching based off of a narrative that fits what he has already established in his head. And so when like I said, we're really just, we're swamped with information regularly. We are. Now, that's not an excuse, but I'm just trying to offer you a perspective from someone else who obviously, is in the same field. Now, what I would like to see is Kyle kind of step out of that, but which I think is happening soon enough, by the way. I don't usually Kyle, when somebody make 1, 2, or 3 mistakes and he catches it, he straightens it out really quick. But he tries to be judicious. And he's not as harsh of a critic as I am, and he's a little bit more patient than I am. And that is not necessarily a bad thing, but give him some time. But when he's gonna come back on, maybe a couple of weeks after the debate, and at that point, we can talk, and we'll have that conversation about Elizabeth Warren. And I'm sure by that point, though, it'll be more clear to him that Elizabeth Warren is clearly not progressive. Reeve Barker, USA poll came out today, shows Liz in a distant third. Yeah, you know how I feel about polls, though. You know how I feel about polls. Polls are full of shit. Polls aren't real. And by the way, just as a side note, we are going to. So I'm supposed to be traveling to Nevada, and we're going to try to organize a few other places as well. For all the black people who are interested in Tulsi Gabbard and her campaign and things like that, whenever I'm traveling to a particular city or a particular area and you want to get involved, please reach out to me. I'm going to go out and speak to some black community leaders in Nevada. We're going to try to hit Oakland as well, and some other places. We just spoke to the campaign about it earlier today and talked about it a little bit yesterday. But we're going to get on the ball because it's something that's super important. Like I said, black issues are important to Tulsi, but she doesn't want to pander. So I offered my services, like, yo, let's go handle business. I got you. Don't even worry about it. So just as a side announcement. So moral of the story is clearly Bernie is tired of the Elizabeth Warren equivocation. Like, Liz is not Bernie. Period. Liz, like, bro, I don't know how many times to say, like, she had an entire committee that she was in charge of where she could have held banks accountable. She could have recommended that the banks had been broken up. She could have held Wall Street executives accountable. And guess what she did? She did absolutely nothing but grandstanded in and wagged her finger in front of the national television screen so that everybody could say, well, isn't she progressive on finances? Okay, how? What'd she do? What did she do? I don't give a shit about what she said. I give a shit about what people do. People can talk all day. Okay, by the standard of she wagged her finger and cussed some people out. She didn't literally cuss people out. But her wagging her finger at big banks, okay, Joe Biden just said he's the most progressive in the race. So now what? So does that make it true now? Because he said it on television? Is that true? Okay, no, I didn't think so. So let's practice some common sense here. Let's practice some common sense. All right. I'm going to read a few more super chats. Then we're going to go ahead and get going. You said he dunked on Warren without even attacking her. I know he did. Bernie can be y'all remember that Fox News or that Fox News town hall where he was just, I mean, it got to the point where you almost felt bad for the host because he got them back for every single dig that they had taken at Bernie over the last 3 years. I mean, he was like, just clowning the Fox News host. So, Bernie can get a little sassy if need be, So, make sure that you check out the Convo Couch's last video. Make sure that you check out. I have some debate analyses that I put up recently. I'm gonna put up one. Excuse me, about Buttigieg next. I'm doing Kamala. I'm doing Elizabeth Warren. I'm doing Beto, and I'm doing obviously Tulsi and Bernie. But those are the piece de resistance. So make sure you check those out. Thank you all for tuning in. Sorry that the video was a little choppy. Like I said, this is a new method that I tried today with YouTube. We'll get it together, figure out what went right, what went wrong, and what's going on. But that's how it be. When you're talking that real, sometimes the internet tries to silence you. We ain't gonna be silenced. Make sure you go check out did I show you my super progressive shirt? I'll show you my super progressive shirt real quick. Look at that, man. Look at that. I'm gonna stand up. Y'all can see me? Okay, cool. Y'all can still hear me? Go to superprogressives.com. So somebody was kind enough to make a shirt of all of your progressives, all your favorite progressives. So I'm the Black Balkan. I know that that's a weird coincidence, but I'm cool with it because I actually love the Black Balkan. You don't know, this man can control electricity and he can travel through time and space. That's how I'm able to predict political outcomes and see into the future because I'm like the Black Balkan, you feel me? You got Kyle Kalinske over here, who is the Green Lantern. You got Tulsi right here, who's Wonder Woman. Bernie, Superman. Kim Iverson over here. You got somebody over here, and you also got Ilhan Omar. See who catches that. You got Ilhan Omar over here. Rashida Tlaib. AOC's over here somewhere. So it's a dope shirt. I can't remember who this is. Honestly, can't remember who this is. And then, as an added bonus, which was really sweet, they said they paid homage to the kitten that I rescued, Arnu, the other day. A lot of you all may remember him. They put Arnu on there and said that he's a super progressive mascot. So it's pretty dope. I was really appreciative to be a part of that. Make sure you go to www.superprogressive.com. I don't get paid for any of that, by the way. I don't get paid for it, but it's just a really cool concept. We as much as I like going in on other not progressives. I like going in on other people, and I'm what somebody referred to as their favorite drama king. I love displays of unity like this. I love when people put their own money, take their own initiative, and basically raise awareness of progressivism around the country. And this is a great example of that. And it would be cool to go out to some of these events and see, you know, a super progressive shirt, because we do have a lot of super progressives, even when we may disagree at times. You know, real progressives can disagree. Like I said, me and Kyle had that conversation the other day. Speaking of which, me and Kyle don't always agree on everything. We don't agree on Elizabeth Warren, right? But does that mean Kyle's not an amazing progressive voice? Absolutely not. I know that Kyle's operating from a place of great faith. Me and Kim Iverson don't agree on everything all the time, especially when it comes to issues of race, for example. But does that mean Kim is not a great progressive? Kim gave up a 6-figure income to do this because she felt compelled to do so, and she's learning every day, dropping truth bombs. She did a fantastic video on Iran, did a fantastic video on Assange and the Espionage Act. She's a fantastic progressive. Me, Fee, and Pasta don't even agree all the time. We agree 99% of the time, but we don't agree all the time. So I love seeing displays of unity like this. So go to superprogressive.com. You can get a coffee mug, women's shirts, men's shirts, tank tops. They have shirts that have the individual characters on them as well. They haven't done all of them. They're working on it. So yeah, let me know when you cop yours. Tag me on Twitter when you get it, or tag me on Instagram at Niko MCSC on Instagram. And let me know when you get it so I can give you all a shout out. Other than that, people, hey, always remember. Oh, like the video, of course. Make sure you still subscribe, because you know how that game goes. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.